Hi there, I am Adam Tiran. I work for Africori as Head of Operations.
And what does Africori do, Adam?
So Africori is vaguely a digital music company working in Africa, and the bread and butter of what we do is digital distribution, licensing and publishing.
And you've got an event coming up in London which you're promoting.
Indeed.
With different artists called Africori.
Indeed, yeah.
What is it?
Africori is an opportunity for us to build opportunities for our artists, whether the ones we're working with already, ones we'd like to work with. And it is generally an idea to develop Pan-African music in international settings. So it began in Johannesburg, where the idea was to bring West African and East African sounds to the South African market, which is a strong digital market. And now the idea has been to bring it to London or the UK, where there's a strong diaspora community.
And to give some idea of the quality of artists, describe the sort of people that you put on in Johannesburg.
So in the first launch event we had headlining Sauti Sol, and they were supported by Trezor, who is a Congolese guy, I think operating in South Africa. We also had a bunch of South African artists, so DJ Switch, Twins on Deck, things like that, who would basically allow the South African market still some chance to
have a way in.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not predominantly. It needs to be an introductory kind of event. You know, it's a matter of breaking it bit by bit.
And the second artist was one that you recently signed on the distribution deal, so tell me about.
That's right, so the second event was just this last week gone, and we have recently signed Chocolate City, major Nigerian hip-hop label, and MI, who is the chairman, the self-confessed chairman, was the headliner. It was also a showcase with a couple of other Chocolate City artists too. But yeah, I mean, he is someone who's been plying his trade as sort of hip hop royalty in Nigeria and even further afar. And it felt like a good time to introduce him to South Africa, with the hip hop scene being so fresh and exciting there. You know, in terms of output at the moment, hip hop and house music are the two key sounds. So we saw some crossover, and that was the general idea. Yeah. So
let's come to the London event. Who's coming and who's here in London who's going to be seen?
So we are bringing over Efia, who is a Ghanaian R&B soul queen, I would say, and she will be flying over from Ghana. And then we also have some UK-based artists in the shape of New Age Music, Silverstone, and a couple of DJs, DJ Edu and DJ Neptizzle.
And why did you choose to do it in London?
It's important for us to be connected to where there is resonance with the sounds coming out of Africa in the rest of the world. Africori has had a base here in London for however many years, 4 years at least. And it's important for us to still be here, and we've found in our distribution work the need to tap into some of the UK artists making African music. So the Afrobeat scene is one of the most exciting scenes in music, certainly in dance music, about in the whole world right now, as I think we're all seeing. And
so one of the things you're encouraging is collaboration.
Mm-hmm. Indeed, yeah. It's really important that we try and help to diversify the Afrobeat sound, and that happens by it not just being a one-way conversation. There's a lot of communities here who listen to very different music now, but having been settled here for some time. And so the sounds that come out of the UK, especially out of London, melting pot as it is, are often different kind of strands of the originals. And that happens in language, in art, in everything, of course. So we like to try and think that this event will serve a purpose to inspire collaboration between the homeland and the diaspora.
And you're responsible at Africori for selling digital streams for the new digital platforms. You were telling me earlier that you've seen a growth recently in the sale of those streams. Give me some idea of what's happening.
Yeah, so I mean we've seen a growth of around about 20% in the last month alone in streams. Downloads is a different story. We see growth, but it depends on the type of artist, as to whether there is as much uptake for the download market. in the way that CDs may now also be back catalogue artists and that sort of thing. But streams are certainly leading the way. There's a number of key playlists internationally and on the continent that are helping to really break certain sounds artists that, and we're seeing a lot of uptake from that.
And which are those playlists?
So we'd see them on Spotify. There's particularly one called African Heat, which was only launched, I believe, 2 months ago, but already has 60,000 fans. And in an international market, 60,000 subscribers being told that your track is there is quite a big deal, especially for perhaps more left field sounds. But then Apple Music as well is there's people who we work with, their curators, their editors on a weekly basis, and they help us to place music in their key playlists.